Katie Morrison walked into the council chamber like she had done 1,000 times before, but today felt different. The message on her tablet made her hands shake. She read it 3 times to make sure she understood correctly. The chamber was full of aliens from across the galaxy. The Zentari with their crystal skin sat in the front rows. The Vrex with their blue fur talked in small groups. The Altarians floated in their special chairs. They all came here to make laws for the galaxy. Humans had been part of this council for 30 years. Katie's father had been one of the first human diplomats to sit in these chairs. Her grandfather had fought in the wars that made this peace possible. Now she held a message that would change everything. Commander Jake Sullivan stepped up to the speaking platform. He was a big man with gray hair and scars on his hands from old battles. The aliens knew him well. He had helped them win 3 major wars in the outer systems. His ships had saved countless alien worlds from pirates and invaders. Jake looked at the message on his own tablet. Then he looked up at the hundreds of alien faces staring at him. His voice was calm when he spoke. The Resource Redistribution Act is wrong, Jake said. Humans will not pay these new taxes. We will not give up our technology patents. We will not hand over control of our defense systems. The Zentari Council leader stood up. Its crystal body caught the light and threw rainbow colors across the room. When it spoke, its voice sounded like wind chimes in a storm. Human objections are noted, the Zentari said, but the vote is final. 67 species voted yes. Only 3 voted no. Humans must follow council law like everyone else. Jake nodded slowly. We understand the vote count. Then you will comply, the Zentari said. Your species has gained much from council membership. Trade routes, technology sharing, military protection. You owe the galaxy a debt. Jake was quiet for a long moment. The chamber fell silent. Even the usual whispers and small talk stopped. Everyone waited to hear what the human would say. No, Jake said. 1 word, that was all. But it hit the chamber like a bomb blast. The Zentari's crystal face showed confusion. Excuse me? No, Jake said again. Humans reject the Resource Redistribution Act. We reject the new tax system. We reject the technology sharing requirements. We are done. Katie watched as Jake turned away from the platform. He walked toward the exit without saying another word. She followed him, along with every other human in the chamber. 12 diplomats, 6 military officers, and 4 scientists, all walking out together. In the hallway, Jake turned to Katie. Send the message, he said. Katie's fingers moved across her tablet. The message was already written. She just had to press send. When she did, it went to every human ship, station, and colony in council space. The message was simple. 3 words: Operation Home Run. Dr. Lisa Parker was working in her lab on Harmony 7 when her tablet buzzed. She had been there for 15 years, working with alien scientists on new medicines. Her lab partner was a Vrex named Kilrex, who had become her best friend. Lisa read the message and felt her heart sink. She had hoped this day would never come, but humans had been planning for it since they first joined the council. She started packing immediately. Not her personal things, but the important research data. 30 years of human medical research went into encrypted drives. The aliens had shared their knowledge freely, but humans had always kept some secrets. Kilrex came into the lab and saw Lisa packing. What are you doing? He asked. Going home, Lisa said. But this is your home. You have lived here longer than most of the Vrex crew. Lisa looked at her friend. She wanted to explain, but her orders were clear. No explanations, no goodbyes. Just leave. I am sorry, Lisa said. She handed Kilrex a small box. This is for you. Open it after we are gone. Captain Ryan Davis received the message while his ship was docked at Central Station. He was commanding a mixed crew of humans and aliens on a patrol mission near the border systems. The humans on his crew all got the same message at the same time. Ryan called his human officers to a private meeting. You all know what this means, he said. They nodded. Every human in the military had been briefed on Operation Home Run. They had practiced it in secret exercises, but they had all hoped it would never happen. "What about the alien crew members?" asked Lieutenant Amy Roberts. "We dropped them at the next station," Ryan said. "Give them full pay and good references. This is not their fault." Within 6 hours, every human ship in the patrol fleet had gathered at Central Station. The alien crews were confused but not alarmed. Humans had done strange things before. This seemed like another one of their odd military drills. But then the human ships started jumping to hyperspace. Not to their patrol routes, but toward the edge of Council space, toward the border that led to unexplored regions of the galaxy. On Central Station, the alien commanders watched in confusion as 47 human ships disappeared from their sensors. They tried to contact Earth Command, but all they got was an automated message. "Human forces are withdrawing from Council space," the message said. "All joint operations are terminated. All shared technology is revoked. Do not follow. Do not attempt contact." The Zentari Council leader called an emergency meeting that night. Representatives from across the galaxy gathered in the chamber, but the human seats were empty. "Where are they?" the Zentari demanded. Nobody had an answer. Human ships were vanishing from sensors across Council space. Human civilians were packing up and leaving their jobs on alien worlds. Human military officers were transferring command to alien replacements and walking away. In less than 72 hours, humans had simply vanished. Katie Morrison was on the last human transport to leave Council space. She looked out the window at the stars she had called home for most of her life. Somewhere out there, humans were traveling to a place the aliens had never seen. The transport captain was an old friend of her father's. "Any regrets?" he asked. Katie thought about her alien friends, about the good work they had done together, about the peace they had helped maintain. "Yes," she said, "but not about leaving, about having to leave." The transport jumped to hyperspace, leaving Council space behind forever. 3 months passed since the humans left. At first, the aliens thought it would be easy to replace them. Humans were just one species out of 70 in the Council. How hard could it be to fill their jobs? Captain Ryan Davis used to command the patrol ship Horizon Blade. Now a Vrex officer named Tornex sat in the captain's chair. The ship looked the same from the outside, but nothing worked properly anymore. Tornex stared at the engine control panel with growing panic. The quantum drives had shut down in the middle of space, leaving them drifting between star systems. The instruction manual was written in human language, but even when translated, it made no sense. "Try the restart sequence again," Tornex ordered his chief engineer. "I have tried it 16 times, Captain," the engineer replied. "The system keeps asking for authorization codes. We do not have these codes. Contact Fleet Command. Tell them we need help." "I did, sir. They have 87 other ships with the same problem." Tornex felt a chill run through his blue fur. The humans had built these engines for the Council fleet 20 years ago. They were the most advanced drives in known space, capable of jumping farther and faster than anything else. Every major Council ship used them. But now they realized the humans had never shared the complete technical specifications. The aliens knew how to operate the drives, but not how to fix them or override their security systems. On the trade station Nexus Prime, Ambassador Nina Fletcher's replacement was having her own crisis. The Altarian diplomat named Whisper of Stars had been confident she could handle human trade negotiations. After all, she had watched Nina work for 5 years, but the galactic shipping network was collapsing around her. "The cargo ships are not following their routes," her aide reported. "Half of them are lost, and the other half are carrying the wrong supplies to the wrong planets." Whisper of Stars looked at the massive holographic display that showed trade routes across the galaxy. Red warning lights blinked everywhere, indicating delayed or missing shipments. "Use the backup routing system," she said. "That was the backup system," her aide replied. "The humans managed all shipping schedules through something called the logistics web. We thought it was just a simple computer program, but it was much more complex. It tracked millions of variables in real time. Then we will create our own system." Her aide was quiet for a moment. Ma'am, the human system took 30 years to build and required constant updates from teams of specialists. We have been trying to replace it for 3 months, and our best programmers say it will take at least 10 years. Whisper of Stars felt, her confidence cracking. What about the financial networks? Those are failing too. The humans designed the currency exchange algorithms. Without them, we cannot calculate proper exchange rates between different species' money. Trade is grinding to a halt. Dr. Alex Turner had worked on medical research for 15 years before the humans left. His replacement, a Zentari scientist named Crystal Song, was discovering just how much the humans had contributed to galactic medicine. The cancer treatment is not working, Crystal Song reported to the medical council. We followed the exact same procedures Dr. Turner used, but the patients are getting worse. The head of the medical council, an elderly Vrex named Heelclaw, looked worried. Are you sure you followed the procedures correctly? Yes, sir, but we discovered that the treatment requires a compound called Turner 7. Dr. Turner synthesized it in his lab, but he never shared the complete formula with us. What do you mean, never shared? Crystal Song's crystal body dimmed with embarrassment. We always assumed it was a simple chemical compound. We never asked for the detailed production methods. Now we realize it requires 17 different steps, each with precise timing and temperature controls. Our attempts to recreate it have all failed. Heelclaw felt sick. How many treatments use human-developed compounds? We are still checking, but so far we have found 43 critical medicines that we cannot produce without human knowledge. Across the galaxy, hospitals were running out of life-saving treatments. Diseases that had been cured for decades were killing patients again. The aliens realized they had become completely dependent on human medical science without even knowing it. General Marcus Stone's replacement, a proud Zentari warrior named Battle Hymn, was learning an even more painful lesson about human military thinking. The defensive grid is offline, his aide reported. The automated weapons platforms are not responding to our commands. Battle Hymn stood in the command center on the fortress world of Shield Prime. Through the windows, he could see the massive defense platforms that protected the inner systems. They had not fired a shot in combat for 10 years, but everyone knew they were there. Override the systems manually, Battle Hymn ordered. We tried, sir. The platforms use human-designed artificial intelligence. The AI systems recognize only human command codes. Without proper authorization, they will not activate. Can we reprogram them? His aide looked uncomfortable. Sir, we do not understand how the human AI works. They called it adaptive strategic intelligence, but their programming methods are completely different from ours. Our computer scientists say it will take years just to understand the basic structure. Battle Hymn felt anger rise in his crystal chest. Are you telling me that our most important defenses are controlled by humans who are no longer here? Yes, sir. And it gets worse. We discovered that human officers have been making all our strategic decisions for the past 20 years. They wrote the battle plans, designed the formations, and created the tactical doctrines. We followed their orders, but we never learned the reasoning behind them. That is impossible. I have been a warrior for 50 years. Yes, sir, but you have been following human battle plans for the last 20. General Stone and his staff created detailed instructions for every possible scenario. We memorized the instructions, but we never understood why they worked. Battle Hymn realized with growing horror that the entire council military was like a body without a brain. They could follow orders, but they could not think for themselves. On Earth's former agricultural colony of New Harvest, the alien farmers were facing their own disaster. The colony produced food for 6 nearby star systems, but the crops were dying. The Altarian farm manager named Gentle Rain stared at the withering wheat fields. The atmospheric processors are malfunctioning, she reported to the colonial government. The oxygen levels are dropping and we cannot fix them. The human settlers had left detailed maintenance schedules, but the real work had always been done by human engineers. The machines were incredibly complex, requiring constant adjustments to maintain perfect growing conditions. Can we bring in engineers from other worlds? The colonial governor asked. We tried, sir, but these are human-designed systems. No other species has the technical knowledge to repair them. We are going to lose the entire harvest. Similar reports came in from mining worlds, manufacturing centers, and research stations across council space. Everywhere humans had worked, systems were failing. The aliens had been so comfortable with human competence that they had never bothered to learn how things actually worked. The Zentari Council leader called emergency sessions every day, but the news kept getting worse. The galactic economy was crashing. Trade routes were disrupted. Medical supplies were running out. Military defenses were offline. How did this happen? The council leader demanded. How did we become so dependent on one species? The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Michelle Garcia had been a human anthropologist who studied alien cultures. She had left behind research notes that her alien colleagues had ignored at first. But now, desperate for any insight into human thinking, they read her work carefully. Humans think differently than we do, reported the VREC scientist who had found her notes. According to Dr. Garcia, humans naturally plan for problems that might happen in the future. They prepare for disasters that may never come. They build backup systems for their backup systems. So while we focused on immediate needs, humans were quietly making themselves essential to everything. They volunteered for the difficult jobs, the boring jobs, the jobs nobody else wanted. Over 30 years, they became the foundation that everything else was built on. The council leader felt a chill of understanding. They planned this. Not this exactly, the scientist replied, but they prepared for the possibility that they might need to leave suddenly. Dr. Garcia wrote that humans have a saying, hope for the best, plan for the worst. The council leader looked around the chamber at the empty human seats. For the first time since the humans left, the aliens began to understand what they had lost, and they were afraid. 6 months after the humans disappeared, the galaxy's worst nightmare came true. The Devourers were coming. They were not like other species. They did not want to trade or negotiate or join the council. They wanted to consume everything. Entire star systems vanished when the Devourers arrived, leaving nothing behind but empty space. The council had kept them away for 20 years using the perimeter defense grid. But now that grid was failing, and the Devourers could sense weakness. Colonel Amy Roberts had designed the defense system back when she was a young human engineer. She had spent 5 years building a network of automated weapons platforms along the galaxy's edge. The platforms were smart, always watching, always ready to fight. But now the platforms were silent. Commander Claw of the Vrex Defense Force stood on the bridge of the fortress ship Guardian Prime, staring at his sensor displays. 20 Devourer scout ships were testing the outer defenses, probing for weak spots. Fire the perimeter weapons, he ordered. Sir, the weapons are not responding, his weapons officer reported. The targeting systems are asking for human authorization. Codes. Claws scraped against his command chair. Override them manually. We cannot, sir. The humans built the system to prevent unauthorized access. Without the proper codes, the platforms will not fire. Then shut them down and restart them. We tried that, sir. The platforms have independent power sources and self-repair systems. We cannot even reach them physically. They are designed to operate without outside interference. Claw watched helplessly as Devourer ships moved closer to the inner systems. The most powerful defensive network in galactic history was useless because its creators were gone. On the industrial world of Factory Prime, President Victoria Hayes used to manage production for the entire sector. Her alien replacement, a Zentari, named Brightforge, was discovering that human industrial planning was more complex than anyone had imagined. The factories are shutting down, Brightforge reported to the Sector Council. We are running out of raw materials. How is that possible? Asked the council leader. This sector has always been self-sufficient. President Hayes created a supply network that connected 47 different worlds, Brightforge explained. Each world specialized in producing specific materials, and everything was coordinated through her planning systems. She could predict, demand 6 months in advance and adjust production accordingly. So we will continue her plans. We cannot, sir. Her planning system was incredibly complex. It tracked weather patterns, political situations, worker productivity, transportation delays, and hundreds of other factors. She updated it constantly based on information only she knew how to interpret. The council leader felt frustrated. She was just one person. How could one person manage so much? She was not just one person, sir. She had a team of human specialists who worked with her. They all had access to databases and analysis tools that we do not understand. When they left, they took 30 years of industrial knowledge with them. Similar problems were happening across the galaxy. Economic models crashed without human oversight. Dr. Kevin Barnes had created financial systems that predicted market changes with impossible accuracy, but the aliens had never learned how his models worked. Captain Laura Wells had led exploration, fleets that discovered new worlds at an incredible rate. Her alien replacement, an Altarian named Starseeker, was learning why human exploration was so successful. The survey data is encrypted, Starseeker reported to the Exploration Council. Captain Wells and her team surveyed over 300 star systems, but we cannot access the detailed information. Break the encryption. We have been trying for months, sir. Human encryption methods are more advanced than we thought. But the real problem is not the encryption. It is that we do not understand how humans chose which systems to explore. What do you mean? Starseeker displayed a holographic map of the galaxy. Look at the human exploration pattern. To us it looks random. They would skip over nearby systems to explore ones much farther away. They ignored systems that looked promising and spent time on systems that seemed worthless. But they found more habitable worlds than any other species. Exactly, sir. They had some method of predicting which systems would be valuable, but we do not know what it was. Without their survey data and their exploration techniques, we cannot expand into new territory. The situation got worse when the first Devourer attack succeeded. The border system of Farthest Light had been protected by 3 defense platforms and a patrol squadron. But when the Devourers attacked, the platforms did not respond and the patrol ships were using outdated human tactics they did not fully understand. The system fell in 4 hours. News of the defeat spread panic across Council space. If the Devourers could break through the outer defenses, nowhere was safe. General Battlehymn stood before the military council, trying to maintain his dignity while delivering the worst news possible. We have lost contact with 7 more border systems, he reported. The Devourer fleet is advancing faster than our scouts can track them. How many ships do we have to stop them? Asked the council leader. We have the largest fleet in Galactic. History, sir. Over 10,000 warships of all classes. Then why are we losing? Battlehymn's crystal body dimmed with shame. Because we do not know how to fight them, sir. Our battle plans were all created by human officers. We memorized the instructions, but we never understood the strategy behind them. Explain. For example, our standard formation puts heavy cruisers in the center with destroyers on the flanks. We always did this because General Stone told us to, but we never learned why this formation works or when to use a different one. So adapt. Use your warrior instincts. We tried, sir. Our instincts tell us to charge directly at the enemy with maximum firepower, but the Devourers destroy any fleet that tries direct assault. The humans must have known something we do not. The truth was worse than Battlehymn admitted. Human military doctrine was built on principles that aliens had never learned. Concepts, like strategic depth, combined arms tactics, and operational security were foreign to alien military thinking. The aliens were brave warriors, but they had become dependent on human strategic thinking without realizing it. Dr. Angela Wright had been Earth's chief cultural advisor, helping other species understand human behavior. Her replacement, a Vrex anthropologist named Mindseeker, was studying her old reports with growing alarm. The humans knew this would happen, Mindseeker reported to the council leadership. Dr. Wright's analysis predicted the Devourer breakthrough within 6 months of human departure. How could she know that? She studied our military capabilities and identified critical weaknesses. According to her reports, our forces were only effective because of human leadership and planning. Without humans, she predicted we would lose our first major battle against any serious enemy. Why did she not warn us? Mindseeker checked the records. She did, sir. Her reports were filed with the Military Council every month for 10 years. She recommended that alien officers receive advanced strategic training and that critical systems should have non-human backup plans. What happened to her recommendations? They were ignored, sir. The Military Council saw no need for changes as long as the human systems were working perfectly. The Zentari Council leader felt a cold certainty settle in his mind. The humans had not left in anger or spite. They had left because they knew what was coming, and they knew the aliens were not ready to face it alone. The Devourers continued their advance, destroying system after system. The Council fleet tried to stop them but failed every time. Without human strategic thinking, the aliens could not coordinate their forces effectively. On the refugee transport Homeless Star, thousands of aliens fled from the advancing Devourers. They had lost their homes, their families, and their hope. "Where can we go?" asked a young Vrex child. Her mother did not have an answer. The inner systems would fall eventually. The Devourers had never been stopped once they began a full invasion. But, somewhere in space beyond the edge of known territory, the humans were watching. They had planned for this moment for 30 years. Now they had to decide whether the galaxy was worth saving, and what price they would demand for salvation. 3T. Council was about to learn that human patience had limits and that human mercy came with conditions. The Zentari Council leaders stood before the largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history. 2,000 ships from every member species, all carrying the same mission: find the humans. The Council had finally admitted the truth. They could not survive without human help. The Devourers had destroyed 15 star systems and were advancing deeper into Council space every day. Traditional alien military tactics were useless against them. Admiral Waverider of the Altarian fleet commanded the search operation. She was considered the best non-human navigator in the galaxy, with 40 years of experience exploring unknown space. "We will search every system within 500 light-years of the galactic rim," she announced to her fleet commanders. The humans cannot have gone far with their entire population. But Captain Tony Martinez had been Earth's representative on the Council's Exploration Committee for 12 years. His former colleagues realized they had no idea how human exploration actually worked. Commander Deepstrike of the Virex Scout Forces studied the star charts with growing confusion. "The human exploration pattern makes no sense," he reported. "They would travel past dozens of suitable systems to investigate ones that seemed worthless." "Give me an example," Admiral Waverider requested. "System catalog number 477 Alpha. It has no planets, no resources, no strategic value." But Captain Martinez spent 3 weeks surveying it. His official report says only negative findings recommend avoid. So they found nothing. That is what confused us, sir. If they found nothing, why did they spend so much time there? And why did they mark it as a void instead of empty? Waverider studied the data with new eyes. Maybe they did find something, but they did not want us to know about it. What could they have found in an empty system? Not something, some way. Maybe a hidden jump route or a navigation technique we do not understand. The search fleets spent months combing through space, but found no trace of human civilization. Every system they checked was either empty or contained only automated beacons warning ships to stay away. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Michelle Garcia had been studying alien cultures, but she had also been studying her own species. Her research notes contained insights that no alien had ever considered. Dr. Crystal Memory of the Zentari Science Council was reading Garcia's work when she found a disturbing passage. "Humans plan in timescales that other species find incomprehensible," Garcia had written. "While most species plan within their own lifespans, humans regularly make decisions based on consequences their great-grandchildren will face. This gives them a massive strategic advantage in long-term planning." Crystal Memory realized what this meant. "They did not just leave 6 months ago," she reported to the council. "They have been planning this evacuation for decades." "Impossible," said the council leader. "We would have detected such preparations." Not if they were careful, sir. According to Dr. Garcia's research, humans are naturally good at keeping secrets and hiding their true intentions. They would have prepared slowly over many years using methods we would not recognize. Crystal Memory displayed a timeline on the chamber's main screen. Look at human personnel assignments over the past 20 years. They always volunteered for the difficult postings, the dangerous missions, the jobs nobody else wanted. So they were dedicated to serving the council. Or they were systematically placing their people in positions where they could gather intelligence and prepare escape routes. Dr. Garcia wrote that humans always have backup plans for their backup plans. The search for humans became more desperate as the Devourer advance continued. The Council's military forces were collapsing under attacks they could not counter. Commander Steve Lewis had trained thousands of alien pilots in human combat techniques, but his students were discovering that their education had been incomplete. Flight leader Razorwing of the Zentari Fighter Corps tried to use human tactics against a Devourer patrol, but his squadron was destroyed in minutes. The human combat manuals are wrong, he reported from his escape pod. We followed the prescribed attack patterns exactly, but the Devourers anticipated every move. The manuals worked when Commander Lewis was here, his flight controller replied. That is the problem, sir. The manuals only cover basic techniques. Commander Lewis must have known advanced tactics that he never shared with us. We learned what to do, but not how to think. Similar failures happened across the military. Human training programs had taught aliens to follow procedures, but not to adapt those procedures to new situations. The intelligence services were having even worse problems. Director Helen Brooks had trained alien agents in human counterintelligence methods, but her students realized they had only learned the basics. Agent Shadowstep of the Altarian Intelligence Service stood before the Council's Security Committee, delivering a report that shattered their confidence. We cannot track the humans, she admitted. They are using counter-surveillance techniques that we do not understand. Explain. Director Brooks taught us how to avoid detection and create false trails, but she apparently held back information about advanced techniques. Every lead we follow turns out to be a dead end. Every clue we find points us in the wrong direction. Are you saying the humans anticipated our search efforts? I'm saying they planned for this exact scenario, sir. They left false clues designed to waste our time and resources. While we search empty systems, they could be anywhere in the galaxy. The council leader felt a chill of realization. The humans had not just left. They had vanished so completely that even the galaxy's best intelligence services could not find a trace of them. But the real breakthrough came from studying human psychology rather than human technology. Dr. Mindseeker had been analyzing human behavior patterns, looking for clues about where they might have gone. His research led to a disturbing conclusion. Humans do not think like other species, he reported to an emergency council session. When other species face a threat, they either fight or negotiate. Humans have a third option, which is, they disappear until they are strong enough to return on their own terms. Dr. Garcia called this strategic withdrawal and said it was a fundamental part of human military thinking. So they are hiding until the Devourer threat passes? No, sir. They are not hiding from the Devourers. They are preparing to fight them. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank. According to Dr. Garcia's research, humans do not abandon their responsibilities. Mindseeker continued. They just refuse to accept other people's authority over how those responsibilities should be fulfilled. What does that mean? It means they will return, sir. But when they do, they will not be asking for permission to help us. They will be telling us how things are going to work. The search fleets continued their desperate hunt, but they were running out of time. More systems fell to the Devourers every week, and refugees flooded the inner worlds. On the refugee ship Wanderer's Hope, alien civilians who had never thought about humans were beginning to understand how much they had depended on them. Why? Did they build everything so we could not use it without them? Asked a young Vrex engineer. Because they were smarter than us, replied his Zentari companion. They knew this day might come and they wanted to be sure we would need them. But why leave us to face the Devourers alone? Maybe they did not leave us alone. Maybe they are. Preparing to come back with enough power to actually stop the Devourers permanently. The engineer considered this. You think they knew about the invasion before it started? I think humans know a lot of things they never told us. Far from council space, in star systems that appeared on no alien charts, the human fleets were, indeed, preparing for war. But they were not the same humans who had left 6 months ago. They had been busy, and they had been learning. The galaxy was about to discover that human patience was not the same as human weakness, and that human mercy had to be earned. 2 years after the humans vanished, the galaxy was dying. The Devourer fleet had consumed 43 star systems and was closing in on the Council's core worlds. Billions of aliens had fled their homes, cramming into refugee ships that could not feed them or give them hope. The Zentari homeworld was under siege. Its crystal cities, built over thousands of years, were cracking under Devourer bombardment. The orbital defense platforms that had protected the planet for centuries lay silent and broken. In the Council's emergency command center deep underground, the remaining leaders faced their final defeat. The fleet is gone, reported General Battle Hymn, his crystal body dulled by exhaustion and despair. We have lost our last battle group. There is nothing left to stop them. How long do we have? Asked the Council leader. 6 hours? Maybe 8. Then the Devourers will break through our atmosphere and begin the surface assault. The Council leader looked around at the handful of survivors who represented all that remained of galactic civilization, representatives from 12 species, the last free government in known space. Any word from the search fleets? Gone, sir. The last transmission came from Admiral Waverider 3 days ago. Her fleet was destroyed trying to evacuate civilians from the Altair system. They had spent 2 years searching for the humans, following every lead, checking every possible hiding place, but the humans had vanished as completely as if they had never existed. Sir, interrupted a communications officer, I am detecting a single ship entering the system. Devourer? No, sir. The energy signature is strange. I have never seen anything like it. On the tactical display, a dot of light appeared at the edge of the star system. It was moving fast, faster than any ship in the Council records. It is heading directly for us, the officer reported. Arrival time in 30 minutes. A refugee ship? No, sir. It is too small for passengers, but it is transmitting a signal on old Council military frequencies. The Council leader felt a spark of impossible hope. What is the message? It is a request for permission to address the Council, sir. The transmission signature identifies the sender as Admiral Chris Thompson, Earth Defense Force. The silence in the command center was absolute. That is impossible, whispered General Battle Hymn. Admiral Thompson vanished with the rest of the human fleet 2 years ago. But 30 minutes later, a human walked into the Council chamber for the first time in 2 years. Chris Thompson looked different from the humans the aliens remembered. His uniform was new, made from materials they did not recognize. His equipment was advanced, clearly superior to anything the Council had ever seen. Most disturbing of all, he did not look surprised by the destruction around him. Counselors, Thompson said, his voice calm and respectful. I bring greetings from the Human Federation. Where have you been? Demanded the Council leader. We have searched for your people for 2 years. We know, Thompson replied. We watched your search efforts with interest. You watched? You knew we were looking for you and you did nothing to help us? We helped by staying away, Thompson said. Your species needed to learn some hard lessons. We regret that the learning process was so painful. General Battle Hymn stepped forward, his warrior instincts overriding his exhaustion. While you were hiding, the Devourers have destroyed half the galaxy. Billions are dead. I know, Thompson said quietly. We have been monitoring the situation. The loss of life is tragic, but it was not unexpected. Not unexpected? The Council leader's voice rose with anger. You knew this would happen? We warned you it would happen, Thompson replied. Dr. Angela Wright filed reports predicting the Devourer breakthrough for 10 years. You ignored her, Warnings. So you abandoned us to prove a point? We withdrew to prepare, Thompson said. The Council forces could never have stopped a full Devourer invasion even with human support. Your military thinking, your industrial capacity, your strategic planning were all inadequate for this level of threat. And yours are better? Thompson smiled, and the aliens realized it was not a pleasant expression. Would you like to see? On the tactical display, new contacts began appearing throughout the star system. First dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. Ships materialized out of empty space using stealth technology the aliens had never imagined. How many ships? Whispered the communications officer. I count over 10,000, Thompson replied casually. This is a light patrol force. Our main battle fleet is positioned outside the galaxy. The alien leaders stared at the display in shock. The human fleet was larger than anything the Council had ever assembled, and these ships looked nothing like the vessels that had left 2 years ago. Impossible, breathed General Battlehymn. You cannot build a fleet that size in 2 years. You are correct, Thompson agreed. We did not build this fleet in 2 years. We have been building it for 30 years, since the day we joined your council. The truth hit the aliens like a physical blow. You planned this from the beginning, the council leader said. We planned for the possibility, Thompson corrected. Humans always have contingency plans. We hoped we would never need to use them. So what happens now? Asked General Battlehymn. You save us, and we return to the way things were? Thompson's smile disappeared. No, General. The way things were is what created this crisis. The council system has failed. Your species have proven incapable of defending yourselves or making sound strategic decisions. So you will rule us instead? We will lead, and you will follow, not because we conquered you, but because you have no other choice. On the display, the human fleet began moving toward the Devourer forces. The aliens watched in fascination and terror, as ships unlike anything they had ever seen engaged the galaxy's most feared enemy. The Devourers, who had never retreated from any battle, began withdrawing immediately. How are you doing that? Asked General Battlehymn. 30 years of preparation, Thompson replied. We studied Devourer tactics, analyzed their technology, and developed specific countermeasures. Then we built ships and weapons designed exclusively to fight them. But the Devourers have never been defeated. They have never faced humans who were properly prepared, Thompson said. Your species fight with courage and honor, but you do not plan for victory. We do. The battle lasted 6 hours, but the outcome was never in doubt. The human fleet methodically destroyed or drove off every Devourer ship in the system. It was not even close to a fair fight. General Patricia Hayes, sister to the former Mars Colony president, appeared on the communication screen from her flagship. Her uniform bore insignia that no alien recognized, symbols of rank and authority in the new human federation. Devourer main fleet is withdrawing beyond the galactic rim, she reported to Thompson. They will not return in our lifetime. Casualties? Minimal on our side. We lost 3 ships to equipment failures, no combat losses. The aliens listened in amazement. The humans had just won the most decisive military victory in galactic history, and they were discussing it like a routine training exercise. Captain Danny Foster materialized in the chamber, his body flickering with energy before solidifying. The aliens realized he had used some kind of teleportation technology. Refugee ships have been secured, he reported. We are providing food, medical supplies, and temporary housing. Estimated time to resettle displaced populations is 18 months. What about reconstruction? Thompson asked. Phase 1. Industrial ships are already en route to the damaged systems. We should have basic infrastructure restored within 5 years. The council leader found his voice. You have industrial ships that can rebuild entire star systems? We have been preparing for this day for 30 years, Thompson replied. We knew the council would eventually face a crisis it could not handle. We made sure we would be ready to deal with the aftermath. But at what cost? Demanded General Battlehymn. You are asking us to surrender our independence. Your independence nearly got you extinct, Thompson said bluntly. We are offering you survival, security, and prosperity under human leadership. The alternative is to face the next crisis alone. Dr. Angela Wright appeared on another screen, speaking from a massive space station that looked like a city in space. The galactic economy is already being restructured, she reported. New trade networks are coming online, using human logistics systems. Estimated time to full economic recovery is 3 years. What about our governments? Asked the council leader. Planetary governments will remain autonomous for internal affairs, Thompson replied. But interstellar policy, military command, and economic coordination will be managed by the Human Federation. This is not negotiable. The aliens looked at each other, understanding their situation. They could accept human authority, or they could return to the chaos and vulnerability they had just escaped. Why should we trust you? Asked the council leader. Because we already saved you, Thompson replied. And because we are offering you a partnership, not slavery. Work with us, and your species will prosper beyond anything you have achieved before. Oppose us, and you will face the next crisis without our protection. Captain Laura Wells appeared on screen from an exploration ship at the galaxy's edge. Scout reports confirm safe zones have been established around all major population centers. She said, colony ships are standing